Welcome back everyone. Today's video is about literary devices. So, we begin with the obvious question, what are literary devices? Why are we giving these things so much of importance? Well, children, literary devices are those methods that are used by writers to better be able to express their ideas. In a particular text, there'll always be some important concepts. Literary devices help in bringing these concepts to the forefront. These devices, as we shall call them henceforth, can be both intellectual as well as emotional. For the writer, it changes his creation from the ordinary to the beautiful. Here you will of course ask me if you need to study these and then qualify to become a writer. Children, this is not necessarily so. You write with your knowledge of the language of your choice and with your heart. The language identifies your pattern of thought and gives it a certain name, and that is what a device is. So, for the reader, the prose becomes more interesting as he is better able to connect with the character as well as with the theme of the text. There actually are around 50 literary devices, perhaps more. As you go deeper and deeper into creativity, you will surely learn all of them. But here, we will discuss only those devices that relate to your given pieces of work for study. So, are we ready, children? Let us take up the poem The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost for an example. Now, devices used in poems are called poetic devices. Poems are so rhythmic, aren't they? You would also find yourself visualizing what you read. I mean to say, the entire picture will appear in front of your eyes. There are elements of grammar, structure, rhyme, metrics, and vision in a poem. In this particular poem, we are able to identify several hidden in-depth meanings. So let us begin then. We first begin with metaphor. So what is a metaphor exactly? It is a word or even a group of words that signify something different than its own literal meaning. We will find the words road, fork in the road, and yellow wood for example. Road here signifies life or the path of life and not exactly a highway of cement and concrete. Similarly, fork in the road is about the choices presented to us by life. Yellow woods would signify the ability to make decisions at important times. Second, we move on to imagery. The usage of this tool is to make the reader visualize what he is reading. Here we are made to imagine the leaves when we read leaves. Yellow woods is another significant tool of imagery. The third device that we are going to discuss is simile. So what is a simile then? A simile is a group of words which we generally use to make a direct comparison between two things which can be similar in any quality, like as proud as a peacock. Here you will notice we generally use the word as or like when we are comparing two things. In this poem, The Road Not Taken, we have an example of simile in the phrase as just as fair, where it is used in the second stanza to denote how the road less traveled is connected to the easy way we like to take in life. Coming to the fourth device, we have assonance. Assonance is the repetition of vowel sounds in a given phrase in a stanza. You can take, for example, the repetition of the and the o sounds in the line, though as far at the passing, and in somewhere ages and ages hence. Please mark the quick succession of the usage of the vowel sound a and the vowel sound o. Moving on to the next device, we have consonance. Consonance then means the repetition of the consonant sound. Earlier we had studied about assonance, which is a repetition of vowel sound, And consonance is a repetition of the consonant sound, such as the D in the two roads diverging in the yellow woods, and the T sound in though as far as the passing there. The next device that we are going to discuss is personification. Personification means giving the quality of a human being to a non-living thing. The road here stands personified by Robert Frost. You will notice that the lines, because it was grassy and wanted wear, behaves in such a way as if the road was a human being. The seventh device that we are going to discuss is parallelism, which is the use of a source of words, phrases, or sentences that have a similar grammatical form. Like, for example, and sorry I could not travel both, and be only one traveller long I stood, and looked down once as far as I could. The above lines have a similar grammatical structure and concurrently they even rhyme with each other. So, in effect, Robert Frost has beautifully used various literary and poetic devices to create the outstanding poem, The Road Not Taken. There are a few other literary devices that are not used in this poem, and of course, you cannot find each one of them in one single composition, but which are used extensively in other compositions too. So here we go with the next set of poetic devices that are generally used in English. Repetition. Repetition is when words or phrases are repeated in a literary work or composition. It is generally used in speech as a device to focus attention on a particular idea. The example from Shakespeare is worth mentioning over here. Oh woeful, woeful, woeful day. A more relatable example would be from Robert Frost. And miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Here you will notice that Robert Frost has used the phrase miles to go before I sleep twice to stress on the fact that he has to complete a lot of unfinished work before he is finally put to rest. We then have enjambment. Enjambment is a literary device in which a line of poetry carries its idea or thought over to the next line without any grammatical pause. The end of a poetic phrase extends past the end of a poetic line. For example, life is but a walking shadow. Next is alliteration. I need not your needs, they are needless to me. Can you identify something here? Okay, let us come up with another one. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled papers. Try it and say it. Or do you want an even common one? Betty bought some butter, but the butter was bitter. So Betty bought some more butter to make the bitter butter better. So what is alliteration? It is a useful sound device that is mostly used in poetry. By the use of this device, the repeated consonant sound provides rhythm and music to the poem. It makes something fun to read and recite and is also easy to remember. Next, we have resonance. Resonance is being able to evoke emotions or the condition of being full and deep in character. Let us take an example. And she said, I love you. Who is it that said, I love you? Certainly, it is she that said, I love you. The statement, I love you, resonates with she. Then we have oxymoron. Oxymoron is a figure of speech and more of a device in poetics and prose. It contains words that seem to contradict each other. Take, for example, the statement, the same difference. It is not clear to you that if there is a difference at all, then how could it be the same? So while words are there in place and there has been a perfect usage as well, there seems to be a contradiction in the meaning of the eventual sprouting sentence. Moving on to the next one, we have allegory. An allegory is a story within a story and another story underneath. For example, there can be a reference towards two neighbors throwing stones at each other, wherein it might imply a larger idea that a war is raging parallelly between two countries. Then we have onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is a formation of a sound from the sound that the word exactly means, like a cuckoo that makes a cuckooing sound. Lastly, we have irony. Irony occurs when there is a marked difference between what is said and what is really meant, or between the appearance and reality. For example, how nice, she said, when I had told her I had to work very hard all week. The statement over here is not supposed to be like that because a person working hard all week is supposed to be greeted with something more sympathetic. So with this, we come to the end of this video. I hope this has proved helpful to you to distinguish among the various poetic devices. If you still wish me to explain any more poetic devices, you are always welcome to share it in the comment box. Also, do not forget to subscribe to my channel for further updates.